here I am again in the shed. It's a bit of an overcast day. I've had a swim this morning at the mere. I've got myself a cup of coffee, and what I want to do today is get my sweet peas sown. So we're going to get into the polytunnel and do that, but I know that you will be interested to know. So the spring bulbs that I put in, I thought I'd leave some here in the shed, so just this tall pot. So we've got a hyacinth and some grape hyacinths in there, and it's obviously quite chilly in here, so it's coming, but there's no flowers on that yet. But the ones in the house, so I've got one in our shower room, and that's not flowering yet. Again, it's cooler in there and not so much light. But the ones dotted around the house, a little bit leggy, which I knew they would be because our cottage is quite dark, so I'm kind of spinning them around to stop them from going off wonky, so just keep turning them. But we've got some daffodils starting to flower, the grape hyacinths, and then the hyacinths are coming as well. And interestingly, the hyacinths that I grew in the basket that I started way back, they're also starting to flower as well, and it won't be long before we've got that lovely scent. So let's take coffee and ourselves into the polytunnel and let's sow some sweet peas. So I'm going to sow my sweet peas, and I've got some Sutton seeds, and these are old-fashioned scented mix. My absolute favourite, just traditional, lovely colours. So these, you know, reds and purples and pinks with that amazing scent. And I've got 2 packets. I'm not sure how many's in each packet. It says average seed content 30. I'm not convinced. So we should have around 60 seeds. I don't think we have. I think it will be less than that, and I'm going to sow them all. Now, sweet peas, and peas in fact, don't like having their roots disturbed. So what I'm going to do with my sweet peas this year is I've been saving, I've got a whole big box full of loo roll innards, so toilet tubes. Ooh, I'm always looking for spiders, and on this one I found one, but it's dead. So I've got lots of these, and they're quite sturdy ones. And what I'm going to do is I can get 16 of those into one of these half trays, and I've got a few of those. I quite like these trays. I've had them for a number of years, and they are made out of recycled plastic. And then, oh crumbs, I've had these 10, 11, 12 years, so I just keep using them. And they do split eventually, and then I put them back in the recycling. So as I say, I can get 16 of them in to a tray. So I'm going to fill the toilet roll innards with compost in the trays, and then plant my sweet peas into the toilet tube. And then once they're ready to plant out, I will just plant the whole tube into the ground, and that way I'm not disturbing those roots. So we have had some really cold temperatures here. It's been down to as much as -6 at night, which I know in some parts of the world is small fry, but here in the UK, -6, -7, it's pretty cold for us. And it's pretty cold for these little plants, but I think here in the polytunnel, what I'm going to do is I will pop them in the propagators. So the ones that I've shown you before. So I'll take this tray out. So this bottom with the clear plastic lid. So I'll show you that at the end. So let's not mess about. Let's get on with it. So I'm going to leave them in the tray to fill them with compost. In fact, I could remove these. I've got some pre-mixed compost ready here. Let's put it into the tray, and I'm just going to make sure there's no lumps, and then I'm just going to fill up these toilet tubes. So inevitably some's going to miss and go down the sides, but that's fine, and it'll also help to keep them stable and well packed in so they're not wobbling about. Got a little bit too much down there. Maybe I should try and aim a little bit further into the holes. Now, I have seen people that do this funky little cut at the bottom and fold the bottom over so then you can fill individually. I've also seen people fill it and then try and get it into the tray, but this is by far the easiest method. Okay, so that's the tubes filled up with compost, and then I'm just going to open up the seeds and I shall pop 1 or 2, I haven't decided, into each one. So I'm just going to get a little pot because I actually do want to count these seeds, and I need some labels, so bear with me. Okay, so I've got myself a little pot and I've got some labels and a China graph pencil. I'm just going to count the ones out of the first packet. So we've got 1, 2, so there's actually 33 seeds in that packet, so that was a lovely surprise. So 16. Alrighty. I'm going to double them up with 2 and give them every chance. Now, I don't pre-soak my sweet peas. Let me know in the comments below how you do yours. I know a lot of people pre-soak. Are you starting yours in this method? How are you sowing yours? Do you direct sow? How do you sow your sweet peas? So 2 in. So I'm going to put 2 seeds in each tube. I'm going to sow both packets because who doesn't? I mean, I love sweet peas, and they are getting more expensive, and I intended, so the last couple of years I've saved some of my own seeds, but yeah, I did not save my own at the end of the season just gone, so I've bought some. But hopefully, if things go to plan, I will save some of these if they come to fruition and we get those lovely little seed pods. So that's the first tray. I'm going to do exactly the same with another tray, and then I'm going to get them into the propagators. So let's just pop a little label in as well. Sweet, oh, sweet pea, and they were old-fashioned mix. I've just broken the end off, but I've managed to do it. So just pop those in there, and then I know what I've got. So I should be able to fit 2 of these half trays in, or of course I could just put it one in the middle, but either way I will then pop the lid on and I will leave the vents on the top closed, but as soon as I start to see some germination I open up that vent, and I'll have them here in the polytunnel. They won't be heated, and if I think the temperatures are really going to plummet, then I tend to cover them over somewhere lurking around here. I've got, here we go, let's dig you out. So I've got some bubble wrap and I've got a big towel, and I can throw either of those over the top, and that just helps to trap in any heat and warmth. And then so I put them on at night and whip them off in the morning if the temperatures plummet. So all I need to do now is give these a little water, and I'll do the rest, and I'll keep you updated of their progress. But do let me know what you've started to sow and grow, and what techniques or methods you're using, or any tips that you'd like to share with me and anybody else watching. And I've had the best ever wild swim, if you will. It wasn't actually a swim, it was a dip. So last week we had some, as I've mentioned, really cold temperatures, and the mere that I swim in was completely frozen over with ice that was about an inch thick. And we'd headed over for a swim, quickly realised that we couldn't swim, but what we did was plunge instead. So we broke the ice, and we had a fabulous time. And actually, one of my ambitions was to break ice and plunge into icy water with snow scattered on top of the ice, with the winter sun sparkling, and it was absolutely fabulous.